Alright guys, welcome back to a new review. Today we're going to be taking a look at the Gerber Dime. I wanted to do this especially after just doing the video for the Leatherman Squirt. I would say they're kind of direct competitors as like the tiny, like more pocketable multi-tool market. These are honestly two of the better ones that you can grab, I would say. So I just thought it was fitting that after I did the Leatherman Squirt PS4 that I also include the Gerber Dime, seeing as it is the direct competitor, at least in my opinion. So here it goes. So basically the Gerber Dime, I read somewhere, I don't know if it's totally accurate, but they call it the Dime because it's listed at 10 tools, and there's a couple that are a little weird. That's similar to what I was saying with the Leatherman, how certain things they list them as tools when really, they could just all be included as the same thing. Like, this is pliers, but they list it as needle nose pliers, and wire cutters. I can't remember if they do exactly all of that on this one. We'll kind of go through each one of the tools and count them up and see where we land. But let's go ahead and just start with the knife blade. It's kind of like a reverse Tonto. This one has a conventional grind to it, both on the edge and the primary bevel there. So that's kind of nice. Kind of one win over the Leatherman, I would say, because it's got the standard grind on it, but the edge is chisel. So that is one thing that I do like about the Gerber knife blade. One thing that I have found that I don't like about it so far, well, not so far, I've had this thing for quite a while, but it's been a while since I've picked it up and used it. There doesn't seem to be a whole lot of spring to it, and you can kind of see the reasoning for that. You could see when it goes in to the handle there, it's noticeably rubbing off the coating there, whatever this is, probably just some kind of paint. And then again, when it locks up, there's definitely, you can tell the paint coming off there. On this one, surprisingly, it does have what looks to be adjustable pivots. I haven't even tried to mess with that at all. I just, it's already doesn't seem super tight, so I feel like if I try to loosen it up, maybe it will just be a wobbly mess. And then on top of that, I feel like most of the resistance is obviously due to the way that the knife is fitting into the handle. That might be because, over time this has bent in a little bit or whatever the reason is, but I don't think that adjusting the pivot is going to help too much, simply just because of how tightly packed this one seems to be. I don't think it was like that right off the bat, so it probably was just over time this side just getting kind of mashed down a little bit. But there's that. Next, we're moving on to like the flathead bit. I guess this would be number 2 for the tools. It's nice. Like, again, kind of like the Leatherman one, the flathead. You can use it to like scrape things. It is a really good flathead driver if you have to use it for that. Next, this is going to be kind of the first twofer tool. It's kind of that 2D Phillips head driver, and then it's got a file on it, so it's a double-sided. The files is pretty much worthless. I mean, there's literally, you can't even, it's unusable. I mean, if you have the tool ring on there, even without, any kind of lanyard or anything on there, I mean, what in the hell are you actually going to get in there and file down? That part, the file, quote unquote, was just not very well thought out. I mean, you could tell in its design that it just was an afterthought more than anything. The good news on these two tools is there is a little bit of spring to it. So That's kind of the saving grace on this side. Not saying that's the only good thing. Like I said, I do like the driver portions of it. They work well. They're nice for like a basic little mini tool like this. I like having those two, despite only being a flat head and the 2D Phillips. They've got a couple different uses other than that, so that's nice. Scissors, big thing for me. The spring did not last long on this guy. So I honestly didn't even use the scissors all that much. They are pretty decent, especially when they did have the spring, but now they're kind of useless because then I'll have to manually open it and close it each time, which kind of sucks. But the one thing that I do like about these scissors is you can see the way that it's got the pin in there. It stops it from over traveling open too much. So even if it is all the way open and you try to close it, more than likely, of course, right there, if it's fully extended out, it'll catch itself, but it's not hard for it to, kind of close. That's one thing on the scissors here that I don't like as much, because it's really easy to, have it overextend way out there, and you can get it like that. And then I've poked myself with these before, not paying attention and putting them in the right way. Mostly my fault, but still kind of sucks that they open all the way. Again, ruined by the spring. It's hard to say what was at fault with the spring. Obviously the Leatherman had the same type of spring where it was the bar that comes up. And I've at this point used the Leatherman a lot more, and it hasn't gone out on me, but on this one it did fairly early. So I don't know if that was just because of the quality of the whatever spring material they were using, or how it was tempered, or whatever process they do. But that's kind of disappointing, because now the scissors are almost useless. Almost, not totally. Again, spring retention is pretty good. It's just a shame that that damn spring went out. Next one is, I can't remember exactly what they call it, but it's like a retail, like clamshell package opener. It's actually not bad. I wish I had something here that I could like demonstrate it on a little bit, but basically, like, if you have all had those like plastic clamshell packages, you just basically stick that in there, and it's like a draw cut. So you just kind of open, like, if it's like bubbled up, you can like kind of go around it and, open it up. Also works pretty well with like just tape on the boxes too. You just get it in the crease and just, do your draw cut, and it works pretty well. One thing that you probably wouldn't even realize you would like until you had it, and it's just this weird little like wedge blade looking thing, but I kind of like it. Honestly, I would say on this tool, I probably use this to open more stuff up than the knife blade, if we're being completely honest. Probably one of the main things that I liked about this tool was the cap lifter bottle opener. It is like dedicated. That thing is hardcore. It's like, look at that. It's like reinforced. It's full bottle opener like that. And the cool thing is, it's on the exterior, so you don't even have to flip open any other tool to have access to it. So you can just theoretically take this out of your pocket, crack the top off your bottle, and then you're good to go. No like extra fumbling. If you hand this to somebody and they see it there, they are going to know immediately what to do. So that is also a plus. Also, before we get into the inside, it is worth mentioning, I believe, I could be wrong, but they list the little keychain ring as a tool or function. So yeah, that's kind of funny that they would even list that as a tool or function of this multi-tool. So anyways, moving on, we got the pliers here. It's like the standard little teeny needle nose pliers, what I was looking for. These ones really come to a point. So you can see it's like disconnected until that very end. And let me see if I can get this to focus the right way. Maybe. It does come to a pretty good point. You can see mine's a little worn at this point. It's definitely seen better days. Again, just like, with the Leatherman, I don't know if you'll be able to catch that. There's a little bit of play side to side. Not a bunch, but there is a little bit. Not enough that concerns me, to be honest. I don't expect it, either one of these guys to be, really bulletproof, but it does pretty well. Same thing with just like the normal plier portion and the wire cutters. I really haven't had to use them all that often. But they do well, relative to what you're doing. If you're doing something that's small or even like small medium type tasks, it'll do okay. This is a small or mini or micro multi-tool. This ain't going to do anything big. Please keep that in mind. A lot of people are going to try and trash some of these for like, oh, well, it can't even do, half the stuff my, Leatherman Wave can do. Well, yeah, duh, dummy. Like, how can you even compare the two? That's like saying, hey, my Honda Civic should be able to tow as much as your Ford F-150. Like, I'm sorry, it just doesn't work that way. But relative, like I said, it does pretty well. One thing that I also really like about these pliers is the spring on it. It goes all the way. Like, there is no, as far out as it goes, that spring takes it all the way, if that makes sense. Like, there's no, like, leftover space that the spring doesn't cover. Like, in this case, the spring, you could see where the handle will hit the spring right there. There is some extra space where it's not supported by the spring. It's not a big deal, but you kind of do notice it when you're like in situations where you like are constantly needing to use the full range of these. You don't have to do any funky weird things to get it to go all the way to its full opening position, which is nice. If in this case, if I needed to open it more, I'm going to have to like do, one of these guys, or like go up here and then do, a little weird extra steps that kind of make the whole thing a little bit more weird. In this, you simply just have to release all the way and then clamp down again. So it's kind of nice. In whatever position you are, it's going to go back to its full opening position. So that is nice there. One other thing that I forgot that was on the exterior of this guy is tweezers. So one maybe crucial item that is missing on the Leatherman Squirt that is present on the Gerber Dime are your little pair of tweezers. I know a lot of people like the tweezers, so that might be a deal breaker or might make you swing this way rather than the Leatherman, but it's not bad to have a pair of tweezers. And they're, you would almost miss them. If you didn't know tweezers were on this thing, you might even miss it because they're like pretty well hidden in there. You might think that that's just an extra piece of steel just somewhere, or I don't know. If you're not looking for it, you might not even realize it's there. So if you got one and you don't know, there it is. If you plan on getting one, just know that there are tweezers on this. Now, a couple of things that I maybe haven't mentioned yet that also have kind of turned me away from this particular multi-tool. You can see I did put mileage on this. I used this pretty heavily. This thing was not babied. It's gotten its fair share of pocket time. A couple things that I don't like. The way that the handles meet up when you're opening it, they really, really grind on itself. Like, look at that. That is just from opening and closing the tool. Like that, it gets pretty thrashed. Not so much on this side. These corners are the ones that are digging into here. gosh, I really hope that's picking it up well enough. Just how completely tore up those two sides get. And it just happens to be the way that like maybe it's just the way that I open it up, because I, put my thumb on the bottle opener thing and then, open up that side. I don't even know if, just maybe the way mine is, even the spring tension just naturally happens that way. So that side just gets absolutely eaten alive. So that just, it's probably not going to affect the performance, but it is a little concerning. It's just a little self-destructive. I don't know. I'm not worried like the tool's going to fail, but just worried about maybe the design choice and the, maybe longevity or whatever. But yeah, it's definitely eating itself away until who knows how much will be left after a few more years. But yeah, that's the Gerber Dime. In my opinion, I would say, if you're thinking about this or the Leatherman, I would honestly just go with the Leatherman. I can't remember the price off the top of my head of this guy, but I want to say it's less expensive than the Leatherman. But I would just say, regardless of the price, I want to say maybe it's like 25 or 30 bucks for the Dime. Just pay up a little bit extra and get the Squirt PS4. It's just better quality. I've just had a better experience with it myself in the very, very long run. I've had both of these for a while now. So that's just my opinion. It's not bad. It's not a bad tool. It's just the Leatherman is better in my opinion. So that's the Gerber Dime for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. If you would, please like and subscribe. Will help me out a lot in the long run. So thank you. And we'll catch you on the next video. Thanks.